Thank you, Girish sir, for your informative address around the challenges and way forward for the geospatial infrastructure in India, and also the duly noted homeworks to AGI. May I now invite Shri Anoop Singh, Director General, Forest Survey of India, who will be joining us virtually. Shri Anoop Singh has over 30 years of experience in the forestry sector and has also worked in verticals like information technology, electronics, and communications. During his tenure in the Forest Survey of India, he has supervised the forest cover assessment for several states and assisted in ground truthing, accuracy assessment, training courses, and calendar for dissemination of this technology to different levels of forest officials in the country. His areas of specialization lie in applications of remote sensing and GIS in forestry and environment, assessment of forest resources and trees outside forests, using remote sensing applications in forest fire, water harvesting structures, and survey of forest lands. I request Anoop ji to deliver his address now.
Respected dignitaries on the dais, dignitaries in the audience, GIS industry stalwarts, software company owners, solution providers, scientists, and all my dear friends, a very good morning and namaskaram to you all. First of all, before I start, I will say that once Lieutenant General Girish Kumar sir has spoken, he covers almost 100% of my topics. And if I give him 10 minutes more, he will again cover another 100% of fresh topics. Sir is such a big, repository of knowledge and vision that, sir, we are really honored to have you amongst us and honored to hear you. The world in general is getting smaller day by day with methods of physical electronic communications improving. But the world of GIS has always been a small world. My experience here, everyone knows everyone. It's a small and happy family. And we always like meeting each other. So thanks a lot for calling me to this gathering. I'm sorry I could not physically be present there because I would have enjoyed the evening dinner and meeting all the company owners and the new and exciting work that they have been doing. It's really a very big learning experience to be in the events of AGI and other such similar events, where we come to know as government officials what is happening in the world. It adds to our experience. It also adds to our planning. It also adds to what we need to do in our work. Today, I want to deliberate on a topic which has been very close to my heart for quite some time. Nation building action points for the GIS industry. Very systematically, Lieutenant General Girish Kumar sir has told. We have a very vast country with growing population. We need to plan for the basic needs for everyone, improved quality of life, a happy individual, a happy family, a happy citizen, and a happy nation. I believe many of you might be aware of the happiness index and how the countries in the world are ranked on happiness. And somehow countries in the Scandinavian area, they are ranked the highest as far as happiness is concerned, because they are satisfied on most of the fronts. But as we all know, land is not growing. So how do we plan for the future so that all requirements for land are suitably met and the country keeps moving on the path of development without any pitfalls? We are all aware of the competing requirements for agriculture, housing, roads, industries, administration, catchment areas, landfills for waste, schools, markets, recreation, and of course trees. Today in the newspaper, I was reading an article where somebody has commented that most of the landfills we are sitting on time bombs. Why are we sitting on time bombs? I mean, did we really plan our landfills properly? And the same question can be asked for so many things. Historically, we have all been aware of the importance of vegetation, but we have all realized it much more during the last 3 years of pandemic. We all know that oxygen cylinders and oxygen concentrators can provide oxygen, but they can provide only when the trees are generating oxygen. So trees and vegetation in general have earned their right to coexist with the development. I've heard a lot of criticism after the release of India State of Forest Report 2021, where people were joking about Lutyens forests and people were joking about urban forestry. No, I very sincerely feel that we should not be joking about it, because urban forests and urban greens are very, very important. They are the lungs which are giving us oxygen for allowing us to survive. So now, when we are planting trees for a particular area, where should we be going for housing? How do we plan for these competing requirements for land? For any planning of any sort, we need to be clear about the objectives of planning, and we need data to plan. So development of GIS database is going to be the backbone for all planning in the future. Without this, we cannot go ahead. At the national level, during the last 30 years of my service, I have heard about projects like NNRMS, National Natural Resources Management System. Dr. Devendra Pandey, sir is also there in this workshop. So I remember hearing from him long time back, somewhere in mid 1990s, about this project when he had come to attend a meeting in NRSC. Then we have heard about the NLRMP, National Land Records Modernization Program, where some work was carried out in Nizamabad in somewhere 2005 to 7 period by spec systems. I think some issues took place after that. As Dr. Girish Kumar sir was saying, Lieutenant General Girish Kumar sir was saying regarding validation of data. Some validation data issues took place. Then we have got the currently running DILRMP, Digital India Land Records Modernization Program, where I am not aware whether any standard operating protocol at the national level has been worked out, or even a broad protocol for the national level has been worked out, because I have witnessed different types of activities being done under this DILRMP. And then, of course, we had the older space-based information support for decentralized planning, SISDP project, done by NRSC. And the currently ongoing NSDI, National Spatial Data Infrastructure, and the related SSDI, State Spatial Data Infrastructure. See, efforts are being made, have been made, and are being made in all these programs, where funding is coming from the central government, and execution is generally by the state government agencies. So this work has been going on for quite some time. I mean, at least for the last 25, 30 years, I've been seeing something that is going on. But is it not time to take stock of what we have done? The Department of Science and Technology is taking care of NSDI, other departments like Panchayat Raj are taking care of Swamitva. Is it not time to take stock of what we have done? A holistic view, replan our methodologies, and aim for convergence. I'm not at all talking about postmortem. We're not talking about postmortem, because the entire process that we have passed through in the last 20, 30 years is a learning curve. We are on the path of learning. And when we are learning, we have to pay for it also. So there's no harm in paying when we are learning. The only thing which I do not appreciate or want is that we should learn from others' mistakes also. We should not have the same learning curve, all the state governments. We should learn from others' mistakes also. So the time is cut short and the expenditures also are cut short. I'm just asking for a course correction. I'm not aware if we have identified nodal departments for different base layers, but that needs to be done at the Government of India level. Now let me come to the essential immediate basic requirement. Immediate basic requirement, which is one of the most important requirements. We need to set right our land records from the earlier methodology of survey to latest techniques. Wall-to-wall survey of the entire country from north to south and east to west needs to be carried out. The earlier methods, while they served their purpose in the past, need to be revisited. All the land parcels need to be resurveyed using DGPS, ETS, satellite images, aerial pictures, etc., as per the protocol which needs to be developed for the country level. All the land parcels need to be resurveyed. This is a very massive work and has to be done all over the country. I am aware that Andhra Pradesh has started this aerial photograph-based survey supported by ground data capture, and Survey of India is guiding them in this entire process. This requires, at the country level, it requires planning at a very large scale from the national level, scale down to the village level. You can understand the different levels of scaling that needs to be carried out. As Lieutenant General Girish Kumar sir mentioned, huge trained manpower is required, requirement of equipment, hardware, repair and support network, training centers, ITI diploma graduates specifically trained in this field. So here the role of AGI and the geospatial industry comes in, where the role of AGI and the geospatial industry comes in, where we will be telling about, the industries need to work out the course content so that the people who are going to carry out the survey, they're properly trained to handle these things. They're not what Girish Kumar sir mentioned are just graduates who are handling it. No, they should be trained in specific fields. Certifications need to be done. When I talk about certification, I'm reminded of the Chartered Accountancy, the Institute. The Institute of Chartered Accountants, it certifies the chartered accountants, whom we all use and the companies use for the accounting purposes. Similarly, while we expect and we try to nudge and we try to motivate the government to modify its training courses at the central government level for the ITIs and the other institutes, the geospatial industry can also design standardized courses with certifications. These courses should be agnostic. They should be company agnostic. If you are trained in a particular brand or particular model of DGPS, we should be able to handle some other model also. Project management framework is required, because when we are talking about, I've seen how the management is going on in Andhra Pradesh. Now, when we are talking about national level, then very large scale project management will be required. Time frame needs to be defined. Survey of India, which was headed by Lieutenant General Girish Kumar, had envisioned this requirement and had gone for the CORS network, which sir has told how they have been trying to patch in with funds from different sources. But this is going to be a very big game changer in this mammoth exercise. So I'm happy and proud to say that a lot of infrastructure of CORS is already in place. Some is under installation, some is under testing. So while the technologists and the surveyors do the survey, the local land governing staff, be it revenue, forest, and other land holding departments, need to set the ownership database right. Survey numbers have to be subdivided on the ground, on the maps, and the linked attribute tables. Duplication of multiple records needs to be corrected. More so, legislation needs to be brought for authorizing, authenticating new methods of survey. Recently, I returned from Odisha, where the Odisha Forest Department has carried out partly survey of the forest blocks, and they are on the job completing the survey of the forest blocks for the entire country. They've done a very systematic job, right from the stage of planning, the inception, the planning, the PERT charts, the legislation, the authorization, the different agencies, authentication by different agencies. It's a very beautiful model. They have covered up all the weak points or all the areas where litigation could have taken place later on. So similar planning we need to carry out at the country level for the entire survey at all the land records. Once this database is created, then only can we plan for land zonation. When I was talking about the different competing requirements for land, when we have the competing requirements and when we have the databases in place, we can also start land zonation, zones for industrial use, residential use, conservation. These purified land records will also help in sorting disputes and litigations at the village level. When I talk about industrial use, I also mean different categories of industries. We'll identify the red zones where the polluting industries can come up. So like that, I mean, the entire zonation for all the land areas need to be carried out, because once you have the land records for the entire country, we have the land zonation, then only can we plan how we shift from the agriculture-based economy to the manufacturing economy, to the services sector. How we can plan for the growth of GDP for the entire country and the happiness index that I was talking about. To add to this, I personally very strongly feel that very high quality DTM needs to be generated for the entire country. This is very important for watershed-based planning and ensuring proper water management. Water, as we know, is the elixir of life, and water security is very essential for the existence of life itself. We can see the struggle for water in the cities. We can see the struggle for water even in the villages, where many a times the bore wells are, the water level is going down. People are digging deep, 300, 400, 500 feet. So somewhere water conservation is gaining more and more importance. We should do it now before we reach a stage of point of no return. Besides watershed, of course, DTM has many other applications, with all my friends from the geospatial industry are fully aware. To end my presentation, I would like to reiterate that there is no shortcut to success. As a nation, it is essential for us to pass through this process to build a strong foundation for a vibrant and progressive India. And GIS industry has to rise to the occasion and treat it as a national honor by getting involved wholeheartedly. Jai Hind.